Let's talk about what happened yesterday at Labour Party conference. So Richard Fuller, MP, Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury. Richard, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much indeed. I've got to ask you, I mean, I've been around politics a reasonable amount of time, probably not quite as steeped in it as you. What did you make of Keir Starmer's speech yesterday? I thought it was quite extraordinary.
I thought it was unseemly, Mike. Here we have the Prime Minister of our country with an opportunity to talk to people about the cost of living. Inflation's going up. People are feeling prices. We know taxes are coming. But he didn't do that. What he decided to was basically get into the gutter and do a political brawl with the leader of another political party. It was just, I mean, just so unseemly.
It really was. I mean, one of the newspapers this morning is saying that Labour's dragged politics into the gutter. I fear that's kind of what's happened. I was kind of watching it incredulous yesterday because I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing.
I've been trying to work out what on earth was the advice to the Prime Minister. I mean, just ignore the public, because the most important thing you can do is frame the choice at the next election as about being Labour and reform. That's what you need to do, Prime Minister. And then go from that to that. And the best way to do that is then to attack, through the leader of reform, British people who are concerned about immigration. And that just seems to have been a total misfire. And then you get, a couple of hours later, after David Lammy makes his comments, says, oh, no, I didn't mean it. And then Keir Starmer says, oh, no, I'm not calling people racist. When actually, if you look at the intent of their speech and the things that they said, it was completely trying to make that point. So blunder after blunder yesterday by Labour. Yeah,
they're trying to be kind of clever about it as well, which I think people find even more distasteful. You know, they're trying to kind of prod you in a direction and then kind of pull themselves out of the back of it. And it's a bit like, somebody driving you to the edge of a cliff and then getting out of the car and saying, here you go, you can take the wheel now. And it's almost as like, it's nothing to do with us, mate, Shabana Mahmood actually said yesterday, when she was asked about Nigel Farage, that she thinks he's worse than a racist. I'm not even sure what that means.
I think we've got to be positive, whatever your politics are. You've just got to be very careful with your rhetoric, your use of words these days, because it is easy to cause offence and it's easy to misjudge things. And look, I'm a Conservative. I believe the Conservative Party has the right sort of policies. I think there are legitimate arguments against reform, but those should be based on the policies of reform, not the personalities or some attempt to describe people who are saying, I think reform's a good choice in the next session, somehow as being out of touch or racist. I mean, for example, reform's policies where it comes to environment fell apart pretty much straight away. You could talk about that. Or you could talk about reforms sort of, from my point of view, too much on favour of benefits for people, who people are not working, not contributing. I think that you can argue about that. You could, if you wanted to, look at some of the immigration policies of reform and talk about that, not just try and label a party as being racist. That, to me, was a fundamental misstep, and really, the first thing you should learn in politics is, never make it personal.
Yeah, exactly right.
Politics, because that's what the people want to hear about. What are your policies? Where do you think things are right? Where do you think things are wrong?
But this is, I think, where their problem lies, because Keir Starmer knows full well, one, he's the most unpopular Prime Minister in the history of time. Two, he's not even that popular in his own party. Only 29% of people think he should be the leader. If there was an election tomorrow for leader of the Labour Party, Andy Burnham would beat him hands down. And when you see on the Telegraph front page today, the record business confidence plunging to a record low ahead of the Rachel Reeves budget in November, they don't really want to talk about the policies because they're messing it all up.
Well, look, Keir Starmer clearly was in trouble, and maybe he decided I just want to talk to the faithful so I can shore up my position. But you're exactly your businesses around the country, what self-employed people, what pensioners, what working people want to hear is, why is it that 1 year after Rachel Reeves saying it's a once-in-a-parliament set of tax increases, not going to happen again, don't worry, we're all talking about the fact she's going to raise taxes again this November. Under Kemi Badenoch, we'd have made different choices if we'd been in power. We'd have not increased taxes on working people. We would have come down harder on productivity in the public sector, and we would have brought forward further efforts on welfare reform. We heard none of that from Labour. So we've got another month or two of uncertainty and doubt in the economy, where everyone knows Rachel Reeves is going to come back to hit people with more taxes, but no one knows who's going to get hit the hardest.
Yeah, exactly right. Richard, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Richard Fuller, CBE MP and Shadow Chief Secretary of the Treasury.